So this is me telling you why I am such a huge fan of Draco Malfoy. Everybody's wondered why I picked the bad boy of the entire Harry Potter series as my favorite. And I have a very, very in-depth reason. I've done lots of research over the past years that the books have been out and the movies have been out. I've been an avid fan since the original book came out in 1997. I've seen the first movie in theaters. I've just been in love with the whole series for years. And I've always been a huge fan, not just of Draco Malfoy, but the actor who plays him, Tom Felton. I'm a huge, huge fan. My reason for liking Draco so much is everyone perceives him as this bad boy, okay? And he's really not. He's really not as bad as everyone makes him seem. Yes, he does some really stupid things, he makes some really bad decisions, and he does some really cruel things and says some really nasty things throughout the series that would make him just have this whole bad boy demeanor. But I have a really nice quote I came up with. Not all bad boys are born evil. Some are merely trying to live up to the expectations others have set for them. And I say that specifically about Draco, mostly because of the fact that he's not such a bad kid. He deep down has a good heart. And we've seen this so many times throughout the series. Specific times we see this is when he's in the bathroom and he's talking to Moaning Myrtle, and that whole scene where she's talking to him and having, this whole conversation with him, and he says how he can't do it, he doesn't have the heart to do it, but he has no choice, because if he doesn't, Voldemort will kill him. And he has that whole entire conversation with Moaning Myrtle in her bathroom, where he's leaning up against the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. That shows right there he has a good heart. He doesn't want to do it. But unless he wants to die, he has no choice. So there's that. There's also in the tower where Dumbledore is murdered, he states that he has to do it. He has to kill him. And Dumbledore kindly, gowns on that by saying that he's not that type of kid, basically inferring to him that he's not that type of kid, he's not evil, in a sense. And Draco says, I have to do it or he's going to kill me. And you see the most pathetic look on his face. And he lowers his wand, signifying he doesn't want to kill him, that he's too scared to do it. But doesn't want to look like a fool in front of the other Death Eaters when they come into the room. So he raises his wand back up to make it look good. So pretty much, in my theory, I think Draco is this really great, good kid deep down that has just been made out to be a bad person because of what society wants him to be, what his parents want him to be, what Voldemort wants him to be. Because all these people are looking at him as somebody, they want him to live up to their standards. His parents are both Death Eaters. Narcissa not so much as Lucius, being the fact she was never properly indicted into being a Death Eater. She doesn't have the mark. Per se, she has the mark, but she doesn't she wasn't really properly indicted from what we know of it. From what Pottermore has leaked out with more details on that. And she's very, very protective of Draco, in a sense that she she wants him to, live up to their standards and this and that, but at the same time, she treats him like he's still a child, like he's still an underage wizard. And she still treats him like he's this innocent child, because of course that is her child, her only child. So in some sense, Narcissa is trying to bring out the good in Malfoy, whereas Lucius is trying to like push him to be this bad boy Death Eater, murder, kill, bring Harry to me kind of thing, bring Harry to Dark Lord, and Draco doesn't want to do that. Another thing we see that proves Draco is not as bad as everyone makes him out to be is the fact that when the Squallers have caught Harry and Ron and Hermione, and he knew from the moment he looked at them that that's who they were, that was Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And he was specifically asked by Bellatrix to identify them. Is that Harry Potter? Is that Harry Potter? Even though Hermione had used a spell to make his face look all weird, to try and hide his identity. Draco saw right through it. Draco knew it was him. But instead of saying, yes, that's him, he said he didn't know. He wasn't sure. When the same was asked of him if that was the Weasley boy and Granger, he again insisted that he did not know. Even though clearly it was them full in the fledge. Their full, actual, normal, what they normally look like. So that right there shows a lot. Not to mention at the end, Malfoy didn't join Voldemort's army, Voldemort's elite crew of Death Eaters, with the rest of Slytherin in the Battle of Hogwarts. When everyone he was when he was giving out the speech that whoever joins with him shall live, those who turn against him, he will kill. All of the Slytherin house joined over to Voldemort's side. Draco did not. Narcissa, also being this good person when it comes to her son, helped Harry in the end too. Because she realized Harry wasn't dead after Voldemort had used the killing curse on him, and asked him if Draco was okay and if he knew Draco was alive. Draco nodded his head at her. Harry nodded his head, insinuating to show that Draco was alive. Excuse me, I said that wrong. He nodded his head and insinuated to her that her son was alive, and she was grateful to know her son was alive. So she faked and pretended, yes, he's dead. So in a sense, I really don't think Draco's all bad, and that's one of the many reasons I like him. He relates to me a lot because I've had a lot of bad experiences in my life. And a lot of those bad experiences are based on my social life, based on things that have happened in my life, based on people in my life that expected me to do those things, expected me to be like that, and expected me to be like them because of who I hung around and who my family was, and this and that and the next. And that's why I really like Draco, because I can relate to him in so many ways. He's made out to be this character who's horrible, who's done so many bad things that he can't, nobody wants to see him as somebody who could change and be a good person because of all the wrong he's done and all the mean and nasty things he's said over the years. So I think I can relate to that because I've had a lot of bad things happen in my life and a lot of bad incidents occur that lots of people see me as a bad person and don't want to see the good in me. But in reality, I got a lot of good in me, just like Draco. So, I personally feel that I relate to Draco on more than one level, and I believe that Draco's not as bad as a lot of people make him out to be. He's not just the bad boy, quote unquote, of the story. Like I said, my quote, some bad boys really aren't born bad. They're just perceived to be evil and bad because of the views others have of them, and because they are living up to others' expectations of them. So with that being said, that's my take on it. That's my fan story for the day of why I like him. And to side note onto that, I do write fan fiction. I'm on Wattpad. I wrote a really awesome story, and people wonder why I wrote the story I wrote. It's a Hermione spin-off. And I wrote it because now I feel on a fan level that Hermione and Draco would have been paired well together as a couple. And the reason I say this is because, yes, all in all, you know, Hermione, being as goody-goody as she is sometimes, she does have this mysterious side to her, like this fierce, bad girl kind of side to her, and you can tell just by the way she goes after Draco. She punches him, you know, the whole theory of, the whole quote of, they only pick on you because they like you. Well, that theory kind of can kind of be seen throughout the movie, because nonstop, yes, he does it kind of more harshly, and people think, well, that's really too harsh for her, and for him to really like her, and he's just an asshole, and da-da-da. But in reality, you can use that theory and use that whole quote as a way of saying maybe he does like her. And there has been something that came out on Pottermore not that long ago that states that Draco did like her. That's why he picked on her. That's why he bullied her. Yes, sometimes he took it a little bit more to the extreme than others, and more than he should have at times, by calling her a filthy mudblood and, you know, such, calling her a mudblood on more than one occasion. But Pottermore on the website came out with it stating that he did like her, he did have a thing for her, and that he was too afraid to say it because of who she was, because of her background, because of the fact she is Muggle born, and his father would have utterly despised him for that, and just based on his father's viewpoints of the whole pureblood thing, because he instilled that on him, he didn't pursue it. And that's part of why I think the Hermione thing would have made a cute little spin-off to the story. And I've taken that twist and I've written fan fictions about it in the works of my second one. But again, I just think Draco is a misunderstood boy who's only trying to live up to the expectations of others, and because of it makes some really bad choices, some really bad decisions that end up labeling him as evil, and he's really not. He's got a good heart underneath all that. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed my theory on Draco and why I like him.